Dishonorable Mention is brought to you by 813area.com. 813area.com is the place to go to see where to go and what to do in all of Hillsborough County. Whether it's the best events, the newest restaurants, or where to be in Tampa Bay, 813 Area is your resource for everything happening around town. For the latest on where to be in 813, check out 813area.com. Dishonorable Mention is now on social media. Follow us on Facebook, and we're at Dishonorable Pod on Twitter too. Next week, we'll start taking questions from Twitter because y'all have been an amazing part of this. Thank you.
Welcome to another episode of Dishonorable Mention. I'm Ernest Hooper, columnist for the Tampa Bay Times, and as always, I'm joined by State Representative Chris Latvala, community activist Becca Teeter, and communications specialist Dr. Carla Mastracchio. Hey, how you guys doing today?
What's up? Living the dream in Tallahassee.
Doing well in the swamp.
Yes, we are in the state capitol and excited to be here. This, for those of you who don't know, is my hometown. I grew up here. I've always wanted to come and explore the Capitol and get a better sense of the inner workings of our legislature, and we're going to be doing that for the next couple of days. So I'm really excited to get an up close and personal look at what happens at the state Capitol. Becca, what are your hopes and dreams in terms of being here in Tallahassee?
I think that our approach to politics is so positive and optimistic. I'm hoping that this weekend reinforces that, and that we feel inspired by the people in Tallahassee, and that we feel hopeful so we can go back and talk about some of the really landmark work that's being done and hopefully some positive legislation. I'm knocking on wood.
Carla, how do you feel? What are you hoping that we can gain from our visit to Tallahassee?
You know, I am sometimes not a very optimistic person. I like to consider myself more of a realist. So I'd really like to get to know people a little bit better and try to understand their strategy a lot better. So not just from, a newspaper headline being like, so-and-so hates this and so-and-so is discriminatory against that. But like, okay, when you made this decision, what were you thinking? What is the thought process behind this? And try to get, a little bit more to the logic of decisions and to bring that to the people.
Chris, you're here. You know this place. You've been here for a while. What do you think we're going to learn? What impressions do you believe we're going to take away from this excursion?
Well, y'all picked a good time to come up here, and it is good to see y'all. The session only has 5 days left, and so now's when all the decisions are being made and the budget's being finalized. So you'll see a lot of stressful folks walking around and people that are counting down the days that they can go home.
The stress comes from hoping that certain appropriations are approved, not approved. What's fueling the stress? Appropriations, but also bills that, are dying, bills that are trying to be revived, different budgetary decisions that, get made, during the next day or two. It's my understanding that fewer bills have been passed this year, perhaps the fewest in quite some time. What's creating this logjam, if you will?
I think that most of the time the big bills wait until the very end, and both sides take the other side's priorities as hostages until they get what they want. So the Senate will take House bills as hostages until we pass what they want. Conversely, the House will take Senate hostages. Also, I think it's just a form of, or it comes from having, conservative leaders. In the House, Jose Oliva, our speaker, is very conservative. And by definition, conservatives, want less government. And so, less amount of bills get passed.
I'm hoping that we can get a chance to kind of delve into the personalities of some of the people we're going to speak to and get a sense of them as people. Does that collegiality get lost, Chris, in these tough kinds of negotiations?
Oh, absolutely. I get along well with a lot of my colleagues in the House, both Republicans and Democrats. But last week we had session past 11 o'clock, 3 out of the 4 nights that we were in session. And so long days, sometimes you start getting tired of people. You know, the minority party in any kind of legislative body, the minority party uses debate and so forth as one of the tools that they have. So they will, talk bills to death, try to bring up points that nobody's thought of. And oftentimes you have 10 or 15 people arguing the same, position, using the same points. So sometimes that gets a little bit old.
Carla, through a lot of your work, you have gotten to know some of the elected officials and some of the other movers and shakers here in Tallahassee. Is there an aspect of this process that people aren't fully aware of that you can give us some insight on?
My first inclination is to be like, "Oh, the shady part." No, but
yeah, y'all will see that tonight.
I mean, Tallahassee can be a pretty, I think, kind of shady place, which is why I chose not to go into kind of state and local politics. I really enjoy being at the kind of the international, national level, kind of watching this from a bird's eye view. So I don't know. I really like the energy of Tallahassee during session, and I hope I get to kind of experience that energy with some really cool people.
Becca, there's been talk among some that we should move the state capital, that for a number of reasons, including the shady part of it, people believe that would be more difficult to perpetuate if the state capital was in Orlando, where there would be more access to the citizens of Florida. Orlando's much more centrally located when you talk about population centers. What do you think? Do you think we might benefit from moving the capital closer to the majority of Florida's population?
I think it's a really interesting proposition. Number one, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with affecting the shady factor. I think that is just a cultural norm that until enough people say no, it will be, no matter if it was in Pensacola or Miami. It doesn't matter what corner of the state you're in. I have mixed emotions. I do think that there's something to be said for accessibility. I do think that being in the middle of the state would be lovely. I do think that when we drove up here, as much as it was nice to kind of look at old Florida, it's not super accessible. And so if we could make it accessible to more people, there's value in that. That said, there's something about the tradition and coming back here and the history that I wouldn't be so quick to turn my back on. So I'm not advocating that we move it, but I do see the argument. I do want to give a shout out to the background noise that is our fifth co-host today, because I know that may pick up some, and we are recording this live from our hotel lobby so we can look out upon the Capitol. And so you are all with us in spirit.
Yeah, I want to give our thanks to the Hotel Duval for allowing us to set up shop here. What are the big issues that people are dealing with in the legislature right now, Chris? Give us 2 or 3 that are dominating the discussions.
In terms of education, it will be expanding the Guardian program, as well as expanding some voucher opportunities for middle class and lower class families. The last week Visit Florida was in the news a lot, but it looks like Visit Florida will be revived for another year. That's more of a budgetary issue. And then there's also, gambling that could be resurrected in the last week, and a lot of, things that pop up and quickly move through the process in the final days.
When you say gambling, you mean an expansion of gambling? We're giving counties the right to vote on whether they want a casino, or what do you mean?
Changing the gambling compact. So the Seminole tribe would get table games such as roulette and craps one of the proposals would give them roulette and craps. It would take away designated player games from pari-mutuels like 3-card poker and things where you're playing against the house. But then the pari-mutuels would get sports betting as kind of a
Trade-off.
token. But I don't know if that will help some of the horse tracks that we have. Ideally, the one in Oldsmar at Tampa Bay Downs. So those discussions will continue to be ongoing. I believe the governor met with the tribe and met with some pari-mutuel folks on Friday, according to press reports. So.
Now, Chris, I know you work so hard and you're so extremely busy up here that you hardly ever get a chance to experience the Tallahassee nightlife. But as visitors, we would like to get a little taste of it. Can you give us a sense of where we might be able to go tonight?
If y'all want, we can do the old Tennessee Waltz down Tennessee Street and start at Yanni's or Potbelly's and just walk towards the FSU and be amongst the youngsters.
Is Bullwinkle still here?
Oh,
is the old log cabin still
absolutely.
here?
I mean, I'm thinking we might have to do that.
I had red bottoms, and I don't think that
earlier
would
this
help.
session,
No.
I was out with some friends, and we went to one of the college bars, and we were the first ones there. It was like 9:00, and once they started doing the smoke show, we decided to leave, like the fog and all that, and the music was loud. I felt really old. It was $5 all you can drink, but I don't think it was really worth that in the long run.
Carla, were you
so we did not stay long.
Were you channeling Cardi B? Did I hear you say something about red bottom shoes?
Yeah, I don't want to mess up my shoes, so we're not doing the Tennessee Waltz.
Well,
we can go upstairs to the wonderful bar here at the Hotel Duval, the rooftop bar.
Yeah, this is nice. There's also a couple of cigar bars down the street.
And there's a new wine bar that opened over here. Directionally challenged, but one direction.
Midtown.
Yeah.
Wine Loft, I think.
Yeah, it looks nice. We should go there.
There's Fire Betty's. I don't know if they're open tonight. Or if y'all wants to be amongst the lobby core and members and so forth. There's always Andrews that's always hopping during budget conference.
Well, if they're looking to sponsor a podcast, I think that's exactly where we should go. Because we want to promote good small businesses, because one thing we all do agree on is free enterprise. So we're happy to support and help grow the work. We've got a pretty wide swath, but we're happy to invite other people to the table.
We'll absolutely take your money.
Yes, we will. And spread the good word about whatever your passions are. We'll just tell you if you're wrong.
And the movie theater in town has the seats that move.
Oh, I do love a recline. I like to bring in a little.
So I've
bring it
been
back a little
known
bit,
to go to the movies. I haven't been this year, but in previous years, I would leave the Capitol maybe like 4:00 on a Friday and go to the movies, just get a nice nap in, because those seats are
that's
nice.
your happy hour. That makes my heart so happy. You're like, I'm gonna catch me a little cinema in the cool room.
It keeps you out of trouble around here.
Yeah. As long as it's not like one of those adult cinemas. But I don't think
They don't really have those anymore.
And please don't let them have reclining chairs.
But you know what they do have, though? They have hot tub places. They might not have adult cinema.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Definitely.
I wonder if they still have the
definitely
hot tub
tubs.
Should we
place.
start calling Ernest Mr. Bubbles?
Yeah.
I can't tell you guys anything. I'm disappointed I can't really contribute to this conversation, but even though I grew up here, I left my hometown at the age of 18. I've never lived here again. And so the only things I can tell you is where I used to party during my high school days. And I don't think any of those places
At the hot tub
still
place?
exist. No. The hot tub place was in Gainesville. That's a different
I'm sure we can find one. I am 100% positive.
I can tell you, though, that I spent a lot of nights at the Jake Gaither Park and Recreation Center where they had teen dances. And those were some of the best nights of my life. And every time I hear a song from those days, no, that was pre-Deneen.
Famous bar here in Tallahassee, the Deneen.
Yeah, no.
Deneen's.
Once again, the reference to Deneen goes unanswered, as it should. Perhaps someday we'll explain what it means.
Do you know how many people ask me who the hell Deneen is? And I'm like, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people ask. And Sadly, they're probably never going to find out.
Until
Perhaps episode 100.
we take
No, we
Ernest
need
to
to cut all that
Bullwinkle's
because we're
on
never-
$5
we're never gonna
all you can drink
acknowledge
night,
Deneen.
and then do an interview with him.
No, I don't think alcohol is the key to getting me to spill the beans on that story. So, but I can tell you, we loved hanging out at Jake Gaither Park. There used to be a teen club down here on Monroe called Sundown that we used to go to, and I love that place.
The Moon is still around. They've been there for a long
I spent
time.
a couple of nights in my college days when I would come home at the Moon. Good times.
Was
Yeah.
Sundown written in neon with like that jagged neon script?
I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
No, it was very Sundown was very 80ish. Yeah, I did have some Jordache jeans. When I always wore my Jordache. Oh,
I had
see,
Jordache
see?
jeans.
I always wore
That
my
was
Jordache
like right
jeans
before
when I
the
went to
MC
Sundown.
Hammer pants was Jordache. I had some cool MC Hammer pants.
And the girls wore Gloria Vanderbilt. You
oh,
remember,
yeah.
don't you?
Yeah.
Those were lines from a song, by the way.
So what I don't
I'd
understand
sing it, but I haven't had a
is
beer. so-
Ernest remembers all of this information. We'll remember classmates from the second grade.
Yeah, who's
Like
your
their date
kindergarten
of birth,
teacher?
their full names, but cannot remember Deneen's last name. And I'm calling bullcrap on that because he knows, but he doesn't tell us because he knows
You
that
know
we're
what?
going to look her
when
up.
you're a meme and someday you're going to be a meme that like,
Yeah.
or
We
or
can
like
make him a meme
GIF,
right now.
Like it'll be going, he'll have his little finger and go, bullcrap, bullcrap. That's the Christopher.
I think I'm going to make him a meme. There's an app for that. We can do this. We can handle this right now.
It's like his signature thing. Well,
Oh, that's
I'm
all right.
really excited. And my question is, before we dip out on this and get ready to start doing all of our interviews, before the interviews, who are you most excited to talk to? I'll go last because I have strong opinions. I mean, like, I don't want to. I don't know. Everybody has.
Well,
different...
I have some interesting colleagues that y'all will meet from both sides. And also, it'll be cool to have Nikki Fried on the podcast. My friend, Representative Tomko, who's our youngest member, will be on. And she does not act like she's the youngest member.
She's the one from Polk County, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you told us about. That's probably who I'm most excited to
And
meet.
y'all will get to meet our version of AOC, which is Anna Escamani, who's
She
a
is her
friend of
own
mine.
person.
Who is, and I'll tell her to her face that she's nuts. She's a bit out there, but she's a good
I'm
friend.
gonna
of mine.
throw up my Chris Jeff. That's bullcrap. That's bullcrap. No, I mean, I love Anna. I've seen her before. Obviously, Nikki Fried is a star. I like that you invited Amber Mariano. I think that's, I like that you brought some of the younger voices to the table. But
Because the Republican Party is the party of women, so I figured I would introduce y'all to
wow.
some
Or
of our
one could
younger
say, even though
female-
I'm sure they're lovely people, it could be the party of nepotism since they, followed in their. I mean, we're not for
kind of like Gwen Graham and
or Chris Latvala,
Hillary Clinton
Oh, good times. All right. Any last thoughts?
and Kathy Castor.
Kathy Castor paved her own way.
She's my boo.
Don't you ever disrespect her again. I'm just kidding. What else?
I'm not kidding. Do not mess with Congresswoman Castro. That's my girl, man.
So when is she gonna be on the podcast?
We can ask
we
her.
can get her on.
We can totally get her on.
No, we will definitely get her on live from the Hotel Duval. We're gonna wrap up this quick episode. Wanted to let you guys know to keep listening, and we will be dropping interviews probably over the next 2 weeks with various influential elected officials and leaders here in our state capital, Tallahassee, and looking forward to all of that. Stay tuned as Dishonorable Mention comes to Tallahassee. Woo! That's all I'm saying.
Oh, sweet! I just got a friend request during this episode too.